to another Car Meet Garage. My name's Don. Here's my buddy Justin. Thanks for having us, Justin. And we are sitting between your two beautiful Mustangs, and we've known each other for a long time. I know you had the Mustangs for a while. I know this has been a project, and by now people have gotten the hint of kind of how these roll, and we'll kind of get into how you got your start into the car scene.
Okay. All right. For me, it started off, kind of like everybody, started off pretty young, family members, relatives that have cars and that. And I just, my fondest memories of being real little, I think my first earliest memories were, 7 or 8, obviously my dad, my grandpa and all them, they all had, Chevelles. My mom used to daily drive a 80 something Grand Prix 350 in it and stuff. She thought she was, pretty tough in that, but
it's a pretty cool car.
Yeah, I mean, she used to drive us to daycare and stuff, and if that wants to date anything, so that was always kind of cool having that loud, sitting in the back seat, real little kid. And then another, we go to my grandparents and that all the time. They just live down the road, but we used to go there all the time, little kids. And my grandpa actually had 2 Chevelles, a 66 and a 67 hardtop and a convertible. And then my uncle, he actually had a 67 hardtop, but he passed before I was born. So that car was just always kind of there too. So there's always just been, we go over there, he'd have one of them out or something in the front yard. So it was always just kind of cool to see that, being, not really knowing what it was at the time. You're like, dang, that thing just looks cool. I got the Hot Wheels at home, and I'm like, that was my grandpa's car. So we're kind of playing with that. And we used to live, farther away, but my dad's friend used to live across the street, and he actually had a black, I don't know what year they are, the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Ams.
Oh, yeah, the second gen.
Second gen? Okay, yeah, but it was Smokey and the Bandit, was black, the gold, the bird on it, and everything like that.
Yeah.
I remember I was probably 7 or 8, seeing that car roll around, and at the time it was, I didn't even know what Smokey and the Bandit was. I'm just like, oh my God, like that thing, it just gave me the chills as being like a little kid. But kind of off topic, I remember being a couple years later, I guess he wrecked it or something like that. So that was always kind of like, dang, that car was so cool. I can't believe he wrecked it. But that kind of got me into Trans Ams and F-body stuff like that.
Yep.
So my brother actually had, around the time I was getting my license, so if you want to go 7 to about 10, 12, now I'm hearing about 16 or so. And my brother actually had 2 vehicles, and one was a 94 Formula, and the other one was like a old 80-something Blazer. So he used to drive the Blazer, and I was just getting my license, so he'd actually let me drive the Firebird to have something to drive around. And it was like that back when your $500 beaters were $500 beaters,
Yeah, it's not
so
anymore.
I drove that around for a while. I had problems, it wouldn't stay in gear. You'd park it and then go rolling back and stuff. But, it was a cool car to drive. And it was that, Trans Am, I got, that thing's cool. So I used to do like kind of barter stuff, trade stuff, when Craigslist was prime, like I said. So I'd spend hours on Craigslist just browsing stuff, and I always like to get something else, trade something if I got something else. So I ended up trading that for the Blazer to drive. I got that from him, and went through a couple other different cars. And in them variations, I've had I had a little bit of everything just to kind of try to get my feet wet to see what I really liked. So I had Camaros, Firebirds. I had a built 4G 63 HX35 Eclipse and all that, and so that was really cool. And that's kind of what got me into like the boost and all that. So we were actually on the way home with that one time, and speedometer didn't work coming all the way from some place down south. I was only 17, the longest drive I ever did. We're flying down the highway, and my buddy's sitting there. I was like, how fast are you going? Pull it up on your phone. Pulls up, we're doing 140, just cruising in this thing. I'm like, holy crap, I just wanted to roots, everything that comes along with the turbo noises. But that was kind of for that. But then between some of the selling, trading and that, like I said, Camaros, Mustangs, Trans Ams, but I always kind of had a itch for the Mustangs, because another growing up was one of my good friends, Cage, lived around the corner, and his grandpa had 3 Mustangs. He parked in the garage, and he had this beautiful Mach 1. It was like a gold, gray kind of, I don't know the color, but it was amazing. And then he had a 66 and a 67 hardtop convertible deal. So I just always remember going like into his garage and stuff, and he had all these Mustang Zone, Mustang Park and all that. And they just looked, immaculate. And there he just walking around like a kid in a candy store, like, I really want to touch it, but he's like, don't touch nothing. So that kind of, itched me for the Mustangs. And
that's the kind of the hand that forced you in your direction.
Yeah, right. like I said, I like everything, but to the point of, like I said, it was nice having everything to figure out what I like. So actually, some of that trading stuff, I actually got another Trans Am. And that was kind of getting my feet wet in like modifying cars, because back then it was like, man, it looks cool. It looks cool. That's all you really wanted, is to look cool. So then I wanted it to look cool and sound good and start doing other stuff. So I actually, between my trading, I got another Trans Am. and it was a 94 LT car, my first like good V8, good runner. You're pretty familiar with them. That's actually around the time I met you.
Yep.
Was when I had that, because I spit out a few transmissions in it. I didn't know I was doing wrong, and you told me there was actually something with the tune and this, and back then I didn't. I'm still learning whatever. So actually, like some of the stuff I actually was asking you, but by then I already got rid of that car, and that's when I picked this one up. So it was kind of like a foreign, different. I was like, I'm not sure. You should talk to him, or you should talk to him. Okay. And I mean, that's mostly how anybody learns about anything, anyways, with cars. Is you talk to somebody, he knows this, or I got this problem, and like, oh, you should check this out. So that's kind of how I got into these, with being off that. And I always loved the interior on the Mustangs. The double hump dash, right. Kind of hugs you in there nice and tight. So I got this one probably, I've had that car by about 13 years. It went through a few different variations of, it was just stock, look good, sound cool.
When you first got it, then you had the Pro Charger on it.
Yep. So that was kind of my dabbling into getting, into modifying them. Before, I throw a muffler on it, chop a muffler off. Dang, it sounds good. But, it was whatever back then. So I got the Pro Charger in that, and that was still, a big learning curve. I had no idea what I was doing with any of that stuff. And I actually was, same thing. I was asking you, because you had your D1 F1X on. Yeah, you had that. So I'm just still learning. I'm asking people that had this different setups, different stuff. So I got that, and I got that put on. I first got the tune, and you watch all them shows back in the day. They got these computers out. They're watching this. Back when like Street Outlaws first, they got this computer on the top of the car and stuff. And you're like, man, that's cool. Like I don't
looks way easier than they make it look. It's like, man, that looks really easy. It's just a graph. It's like, yeah, except there's like 30 tables you got to adjust.
Yeah, right. Especially the not knowing. You're like, yeah, you just plug it in and you move this, you move that, and the car's a runner. So, I forget that tune and getting it running and stuff, and at the time it was still my daily driver, so I was just daily driving it. But it was, I thought I was hot shit rolling around, town with the blower on there. Nobody else really had, the couple of people.
Pro Chargers sound cool. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can't beat that. And that was back around the time when like all them guys used to meet like Advanced Auto, hang out there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like back then, I was still 17 or 18, kind of a younger kid. And actually, to kind of jump back to this car real quick. Before that, I had that Trans Am, and I went and raced a couple of our buddies, because we'd meet at that Advanced Auto, and that was back when like, I don't know how to describe it, but it was a different time then. All these people would meet up, and then it was like just like on the videos before even you could watch YouTube or 1320 or anything. You'd get 10, 20 people sitting in this parking lot. And, they match up. Everybody's matching up. They're like, okay, we're gonna go do a loop. So I'm like, okay, cool. That was like my first time racing on the street.
Doing the Saginaw loop,
yeah, for sure. And that was, it was awesome, but like so nerve wracking at the same time, because actually at the time when Colin used to have that old nitrous car, I think it was. Yeah. It was an old nitrous car. I raced him in that Trans Am, and one of our other
computer car.
Nope. He had a black New Edge before the Cobra.
Oh, yep.
So he let one of our other friends drive it, and I actually raced him in that car while I had my Trans Am. And then they all kind of gave me crap when we get back to the lot, because I always wanted one of these, and he had that one. And I raced him that, and I was like, man, I was like, I know I beat you, but I still want that car. I'd still rather have that one. I just always like the looks of them. But to get back to it, we'd go to a lot, do the loop. So that was my first kind of racing experience with him. Was just driving down, the 2-lane, make the loop, and after that, I was, that was it. That was as most people would say, the bug. You got the bug. So that was about it for street racing.
And it never goes away.
No, no. I think it's even worse now than what it was, because now you can afford this stuff, and you've gained enough knowledge to know, some stuff. Obviously, you're always still learning about, something new that you've never done, but. I mean, it's to the point now where if something breaks, you're like, oh, that's this. Or, especially when you touch every nut and bolt on a car, you're like, oh, maybe it was this thing because I had this one too tight, or this too, something along them lines. But that kind of got in like the street racing thing. So after the Pro Charger deal, I kind of, younger kid, I'm like, I'm making this thing go faster. And we had other buddies that were a lot faster. And we actually had another friend that had pretty much the same car. And at the time, I was like, it was winter time. I'm like, forget this Pro Charger. I'm making it go faster. And you were actually doing a turbo on your...
Yeah, so I went from Pro Charger to turbo.
Yeah, and you were doing it. And I remember going over there and seeing you guys doing it. I'm like, oh, these pipes and all this. I'm like, what is all this crap they got going on here? But, I was like, if that's more... That was like the big turbo blow up, around back then was like everybody is putting a turbo on everything. And I'm like, I mean, it's more...
We all kept telling you, ditch the belt.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I did have a lot of belt problems on that, but it sounded so good and it was so easy. So, after about that point, it was like, I'm going to start building the motor. I'm going to do some suspension stuff. I'm going to try and make it not really a quarter-mile car, but like a street street car I can, ride around in.
Yeah, how's that going for you?
Actually, great. This was my choice. This one was my choice. So,
Yeah.
I actually yanked the motor out and all that stuff. Like I said, back when I didn't know anything I was really doing with cars or that. So I ripped it all apart, and then, life kind of happens. I moved around a couple times. The car went to other places, went to this place, that place, kind of sat in a barn here, while I was moving around. And I had all the parts. I actually just swapped my P1 for a D1. I was going to go built motor with a D1, all that stuff on it. And then I ended up selling that because, like I said, I was moving around. I was 17, 18. I needed some money. I had to down payment, this crap, this, that, whatever. And the car ended up sitting for
a while.
Yeah, it was 6, 7 years or so. But like I said, it was just constant moving and doing this, doing that as a younger adult. And
we were because we worked together, and we always had that conversation of whose car was going to get done first.
Yeah, right, dating it and stuff. Like, what are you gonna be next year? But it's kind of nice having somebody to keep pushing you out like that, because a lot of people get mad when they're like, "What the heck? The car ain't done. It ain't never gonna run again."
It takes time.
I know, but I kind of feed off it. When they say that, I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, it's going to be now you're cutting my timeline back. The more people will say that ain't ever going to run or anything, I'm like, all right, just wait, watch and see. Yeah, right. Holler at me next summer or something. But as far as that goes, then I end up selling all them parts and that, so it kind of sat on the back burner. And our other mutual friend, he actually was ripping his car apart at the time, and he had the similar motor setup that Tony.
Oh, Tony Campbell, yep.
When he had his other setup, he was ripping it apart. I think he was going 4-valve or something with it. Or that was when he bought the Cobra.
He bought the Cobra.
Yeah, so he bought the Cobra, so he had the motor kind of sitting there. And at the time, I sold all my motor. I had the built bottom end and stuff, but I needed the money at the time. So he actually had that motor out perfect timing. I used to nag him even back in high school. I'm like, "Oh, sell me that motor. You sell me that motor." Mm-hmm. So eventually, he sold me the motor, which was actually cool on him because, like I said, it broke kind of kid at the time. He let me make a few payments to him to actually get the motor, so that was cool.
So this car is what? It's a 02, 03?
02.
02? Yep. Okay. So because we're kind of blending into all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, right.
What car are we on right now? It's okay. Right. We're on the new Edge right now. So
okay, yeah. So we're working on this one.
Yep. So currently right now the motor in this one is what cubic inch is it?
Probably like a 292 or something. It's a 475 stroker. So about 15 over from a 4.6, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, and it's turbocharged now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, with turbos on it if you don't have to say if you don't want to, because I know you do. But turbos on it.
Oh, just 76, 75. It's just a single on 3 forward face kit, billet wheel kind of budget friendly, get you there.
Right.
Yep, get you started, get you moving. So other than getting that motor from him, I tossed that in there. Got that all bolted together. Now, obviously, put the rear end and stuff. But because I've had this car for probably 11, 12 years, it's been through different variations. Obviously, it's undergoing some stuff now. But my end goal mostly with this car is, right now, I just want to drive it. It is a stick shift, and everybody still gives me crap about, it'll be faster as an auto. But yeah, you can do the manual valve body, but for me, I just love the stick shift racing.
You like the stick, you go with the stick.
Yeah, because there's nothing like stick shift racing street or track. You're next to somebody and they got this built auto and stuff, and you're 3rd, 4th gear and you're pulling past them. Like, yes, it's just the satisfaction, I guess, of grabbing the gears past. So eventually with this car, I'd like to probably do like a TH400 470 manual valve body, but that would be like full send this motor ever gives out, chop the front end off, LS, so the whole deal, bigger turbo, kind of drag car, big cage in it, all that stuff. That's like a long term. Like I said, whenever that motor wants to decide to leave.
Hopefully not for a while, because it's only been the car for, you won't even, this was your first summer really driving the car.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I actually had it about ready, and then I broke my leg, so I couldn't get it tuned or anything else like that. I was out for about a year or so. So actually about mid this year, I got to go run this at the track. I probably made full passes, maybe 3 or 4. I probably made 6 or so altogether, but I had some problems. Coolant line, fuel pump shut off, just little odds,
little bugs.
Yeah, the stuff you figure out when you go there, especially after you touch every nut and bolt.
Were you happy with what it ran, or were you kind of like,
No, I mean, it had good mile an hour. I got to like 124 mile an hour, but my 60 foot is just terrible. Especially just learning on a prep track too. That launching with that, I did the first 3 or 4. I didn't have a 2-step or anything either, so it was kind of just float this. I couldn't hold it down all the way, so as soon as you go, you got to floor it and kind of.
24 is good for a mid-low 11-second pass.
Yeah,
it's
right.
not terrible for something street.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it'll, like next year I take it out, I'm hoping I'll get down to, maybe 10.5. Even if I could get like a 10 1050 or so, that'd be cool, because I'd like to do, you know, a class with both cars, you know, eventually get a double trailer, haul both, run this in a bracket, run that in a bracket, and try to win some money, I guess.
Right, and speaking of that one, we can dive into this one. So you've had this one for 5 or 6 years now.
It was
Your
about 3 or 4.
yeah.
About 3 or 4. Pre-COVID, I bought it.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yep. What year? This one's 2012, right?
2011. Yeah.
Damn, okay, year off on all your cars.
They're the same, though.
Right, yeah. So what's the deal with this guy? Because I know when you first got this car was pretty much bone stock when you got it.
Yeah, pretty much for the most part. This one was kind of a filler. I got this car about, like I said, this car was ripped apart for about 6 years or so. So I got this about at that 3 or 4 year mark. And this was kind of just supposed to be a filler to drive, you know, while I was finishing this one. And at the time, it was just easier to get something else fun to drive while I build this at the time, you know, being more of a budget friendly. You know, you're on a budget, you're trying to get some stuff. Now you got 2 cars.
Right.
So you're trying to
I know the pain.
Yeah, right. We have multiple, 3, 4.
So what's the deal with it? What's all in it? What's planned for it? I know you said taking both cars racing. Because I know you're obviously it's picked up that you're a drag racer, just like I am, just like drag is. Well, a lot of us are. I'll not take any road track or anything like that, or autocross, anything like that. I'm a drag racer. I know
Right.
we've been friends long enough that I know that.
Oh yeah, right.
So what's done to this car? It's stock motor still, right?
Yep, stock motor. Pretty much everything's still stock on it. It does have like a H pipe, catback, lowered wheels, cold air. I do got some Corbos in it, roll bar,
seen that, yeah.
Elite. Right now, this one's kind of just like the street, daily it every once in a while. You know, take it back and forth to work when it's nice out. You know, just kind of a daily with it. This one I'd like to do maybe this summer, do like a FBO E85 kind of setup on it. Just, you know, something reliable. I don't want to rip it apart yet, especially once you get these Coyotes, because, you know, it's just a learning curve. You know, I don't know too much about them.
Right, because this one's a Gen 1 Coyote or a Gen 2 Coyote?
Gen 1.
1 Coyote? Okay.
Yep.
And so you've had this one to the track already, right?
Yeah, I did. This was the car I actually took to the track for the first time. After I broke my leg, I probably only went, it's probably 2 months later or so I could still only had 70% bend in my leg, and I wanted to go. You know, I've been wanting to go. I had the itch, so me and my buddy, he followed me down there, ran it. The first one off, like I said, my leg was still a little rough, so I think the first pass off was like a 13.7 or something, you know, first time down. So not terrible.
Right.
I actually took this one twice that year. I think the best I got down to was like a 13.0 or something, but we did tires on the back, had street tires. I did change the seat, so you can't, it has a bunch of light, so it kind of goes in limp mode when you try to do the burnout, so I couldn't really get a burnout.
Oh, because the seat or the seat sensor or something in it, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a weight sensor, and I didn't know that when I swapped the seats. You know, by then I already sold them. You know, I was like, I got my new seats, I'm putting them in.
Yeah, I actually remember that conversation.
Yeah, you know, I had no idea about it, so it's kind of been in limp mode. You can still, you know, drive it and, you know, full RPM and all that, but when you try to do a burnout, it just, the stability track is on, the advanced track and all that. I got all the stuff to fix it now. I just got to do it.
Right. So what's if you had to give a 5-year plan on the new Edge, what would you say?
Like I said, on this one, it's pretty much on a timer now, whatever the motor will let me. So I said, I'm going to try to run it, you know, full tilt till it goes. And then once that goes, I'll probably, like I said, cut the front end off, do the LS deal, easier, cheaper, simpler. Throw it in there, nice big turbo, kind of still a street car, but, you know, I'll go out and run a 9 something consistently, manual valve body,
right.
You know, all that deal. Bracket, kind of a bracket car, I guess.
Right, and 5-year plan on the S197.
This one, I don't know. This one I'm still kind of up in the air in. I really want to put this one's turbo. I really want to pro charge this one, and then I want to put a Whipple on the truck, just so I got, you know, one of each. You know, you got the root style turbo and a pro charger, so you got all best of 3 worlds. And I kind of just want to keep this one as more of a daily. Like I said, just nothing internally on the motor, maybe a oil pump gear, 600-700 horse running around as a daily. I'll still take it to the track and stuff, but, you know, more of a reliable daily than trying to drive this. Like, oh, I'm gonna drive the race car to work, and I can just jump in this one and same.
Right. So do you plan on keeping You've had these ones long enough. I know that you wheel and deal on. I think your intention is to keep these ones, right?
Oh yeah. These ones are my. People always kind of laugh, but I always say I have this collection, and they're like, "What collection?" I'm like, "The stuff I ain't never getting rid of." Once it gets in that collection, it's
right.
I'm not getting rid of it.
Because you also picked up the standard cab short box Silverado, and that's 14 or 15, right?
14, yep.
14. Because I know you've been doing some stuff to that one too.
Yeah. That one more like it's still a daily at the right now. I do want to cam it and do like long tubes and stuff, but I gotta wait till it gets nicer out. Yeah, right. I can't drive something. It's still eventually I just want to retire that one as the daily once I get something bigger to pull the stuff around with. Retire that as a daily and just keep it as kind of like a street driver. Like I said, cammed, lowered. Just look good. Little hot rod cruise around town in.
Right. So most of the work that's coming out of these things, you're doing almost everything yourself, or you got any shops or anything?
Yeah, no,
helping you out, or?
Pretty much everything that's done, I've done. Like I said, most of it's just asking around. There's forums, there's people that have already done it, or if I don't know, if you research it enough, you watch enough videos, you figure stuff out. I mean, worst case scenario, you try it yourself, and then you take it to the shop you were going to take it to anyway. So, I mean, you'll never learn it if you don't try it. So.
Oh, right. Is there anybody friends, family, any shops you've had to have help that you want to thank?
Oh yeah, I've had a few of my buddies along the process of putting this together. One of my buddy Cage helped me put the tranny in. Unexpected, stopped over. Let's throw it in. My other buddy Cole, he's done a lot of the welding, fabrication on some of the stuff. My brother's helped me, along the way with, tearing stuff apart, bringing tools, and he's like a daily mechanic, so he knows, little odds and ends for like how the rear end, I've never really tore one apart, but he's done it a ton of times, so he'll come over, kind of help me with that. But most of it, like I said, is just, people you ask around. If you don't know, then somebody knows. Somebody's been there, they've done it, and most of the time they're more than willing to help.
Oh yeah, that's just the community that we're in.
Yeah, right.
And so, is there any socials people can follow you on your builds?
Yeah, pretty much just the only one is Instagram. I do got a YouTube. I don't post much on it. It's Performance Anything. I try to keep Performance Anything because I love everything. So you might get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I got bikes, all that stuff. So there's a little bit of everything I try to put on there. I haven't really got posted, odds and ends, but
because you also have your big plethora of motorcycles too. So
yeah, say any motorcycle stuff. If you guys want to follow me on there, say the car stuff, there's truck stuff, bike stuff. Now I'm gonna try posting more in 24 when I get the stuff out more. Now that I'm pretty healed up, able to walk around, get around, so hopefully 24 will be pretty big.
I think 24 is going to be a big year, dude.
Yeah,
I know
sure.
a lot of people are bringing out way more better stuff in 24.
Right.
But as the time goes, faster you got to get to even stay, to get off the porch.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Yeah, now 1,000 horsepower is not rare to come across. Factory car 700 horsepower. A car you start building 10 years ago to get to 600 horse, you're like, holy crap, that's fast. And now, you're there and everybody's 1,000 horsepower out of the box, and you're like, yikes, like now I gotta try to get this up, especially just to do bracket stuff. Like I said, I'm not necessarily brackets, but you know what I mean, as far as to be competitive against these stock cars that you take out to the track. You got all your time, money, and everything into it, and this guy in a stock car jumps out and beats you by a second and a half. You're like, holy crap.
Right, so there's no excuse that because if we do the Bay City Car Meet drag event out at Ubley again, no reason that you're not going to be there then, right?
Oh no, I'll be there.
Oh,
for
perfect.
Sure. All 24. I'll be every track every weekend.
Perfect, sir. Justin, thanks for having us in the garage. A beautiful collection.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. And tune in for the next one, guys. Thank you.